Right, here we are, somewhere in Kent at a Honeywood's pop-up camping weekend, and we are here at Feast in the Woods, and I'm going to knock together a little Gambas Al Ajillo, which is basically prawns and garlic to you and I. I'm using frozen prawns. They've already done a job because on the way here they were keeping my wine cool, which is a great benefit of using frozen prawns. You can use fresh prawns with the shell on if you can get hold of them nearby, locally. If not, then grab a bag of frozen prawns from wherever you get them from and use them to cool your wine or your beers. So I'm going to chop a little bit of garlic. So this will feed 4 people. I'm going to serve it up in a little pita bread and tuck in about 5 minutes time, I think. I'm going to be using pretty simple ingredients really. It's just going to be prawns, some garlic, some paprika. Smoked paprika is good, but I actually don't have any at the moment, so I'm using ordinary paprika. The smoked paprika is smashing because it just gives it a nice little smoky flavour. Some people like it, some people don't. Get it a little bit smaller than that. You don't want it too small because otherwise it'll burn when you put it in the hot oil. Garlic's got quite a high sugar content, so it'll caramelise pretty quickly. So if you're a little tip, if you're ever frying onions and garlic, start off with the onions. Do the onions first because they take a bit longer to cook. And I'm using olive oil. There you go. Just a splash, not too much. Because I'm using frozen prawns, there's going to be quite a little bit of moisture where the water crystallises and freezes around it. I've got my gas down here. The thing about cooking, when you're cooking outside, is always make sure that you can get your hand to the gas tap. Under here I've got my gas bottle with the regulator and it's got a tap on it. So if in the very unlikely event of an unexpected fire, I can turn it off really quickly. So always know where your on and off switch is. Okay, so I've got a little bit of olive oil in there. Gonna bring that to warmth. I think there's a couple of schools of thought really about cooking garlic. A pal of mine tells me that if you put the garlic in when the oil's cold, and then let it warm, that teases a lot more of the flavour out. Or you can just drop it into hot oil and it will sizzle and it will caramelise pretty quickly. So I want to get that going and get a little bit of colour in it. I don't want it to start going too brown. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think we're good there. So that'll take just a couple of minutes. So basically I'm just going to use some prawns, some garlic, a bit of ground black pepper, a little pinch of salt, paprika will go in there. And I'm going to put some flat leaf parsley in to make it look pretty at the end. And while that's warming up, I'll try and remember. I'm going to serve this in pittas, or it's good with crusty French bread. It's good on its own, just on a plate. So this little stove that I'm using it's a cracker. I always use 2 rings. I've got various other stoves dotted about the camp and an implement over there for cooking over an open fire. But the secret to being a Guyrope Gourmet is have 2 cooking rings and a grill, because a grill means that you can make toast in the morning. And the value of toast as a camper is incredible. Okay, so that's going. Right, so my garlic's beginning to take on a little bit of colour. So I shall add probably a good teaspoon of paprika. I never really measure things too accurately. It's always about this much and about that much. And that to me looks like about a good teaspoon. So I'll chuck that straight in. And straight away it turns the oil a lovely orange colour. Now I'm using a decent non-stick pan here. And the secret with non-stick pans is use wooden or plastic implements. There's no point in shelling out good money and then going at it hell for leather with metal implements and scratching the Teflon off. Okay, so that's been cooking for what, a couple of minutes now? Now these are cooked prawns, so all I'm going to do is literally warm them through. If you were using fresh prawns, then you cook them for a couple of minutes longer. But there's plenty of flavour in that oil, so I'll add my prawns, get the sizzle. The sizzle is the water hitting the fat, but it always sounds impressive. Now it's gone quiet because the prawns are quite cold and it's taken the heat away from the pan, which is all right because that gives me a minute to... one of the perils of cooking outside is it can blow your flame out. I think we'll have a grind of pepper. I always use fresh ground pepper because the corns stay fresher rather than using ready ground scattering pepper. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky cooking outdoors on a blowy day. We're not too bad. You can see my flag fluttering in the background. But if it's really windy, then I'll be moving inside the tent and out of the wind to cook, because that way it conserves your gas. I shall have a pinch of salt, and I shall chop a little bit of parsley. Again, using sea salt makes all the difference rather than your sifty Saxo stuff. And we're just waiting for that to come back to heat. I just want to get rid of some of this liquid. It's the water that's come out of the prawns. So I'm going to boil it up a little bit, just to try and boil that off. And even better, if you stick a lid on the pan, it will bring it up to heat a lot quicker. So that's it really. It's that simple, and it makes a splendid little dish. Mind the fingers. Open pitter pocket, there's one. There we go. Right, that's starting to boil now, so some of that additional liquid is coming off. You want a bit of juice in there because you can soak it up with your bread. That's done. Turn it off, turn the gas off at the tap. Don't forget the garnish. I'm using flat leaf parsley here. I love using fresh herbs. They really lift the flavour. When you're using dried herbs, I mean, this isn't a dish that, well, you could use dried herbs, but when you're using dried herbs, the flavour is a bit more intense. Whereas with fresh herbs, you get a delicious little kind of aroma that comes off. I'm not going to cook them. I'm just going to turn them through the warm prawns, and that will release some of the flavour. And I'll save a little bit to sprinkle on top and make it look fancy. Right, who's going to try it? Oh, that'll be me then. Smashing.